They tell you to put the polynomial in standard form, list the leading coefficient, name each polynomial by number of terms, and give the degree. So if it is a 1, 2, or 3 number of terms, then you need monomial, binomial, trinomial. Anything above that, you're just going to write 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 terms, whatever it is. Okay? So before we can determine what this is, it needs to be in standard form, just in case we have to combine any like terms. So I'm going to look and I'm going to find my highest degree, which in this case is the 7, and I'm going to put that first. So I would say 9m to the 7th is first, plus 6m to the 5th would be next, 8m to the 4th, and then negative 7m squared. So this answers the first piece of it, which is standard form. The next piece tells me to list the leading coefficient. So my leading coefficient is going to be, once it's in standard form, it's just my first number, which in this case is 9. The next thing it wants me to do is name this by degree and number of terms. So this is a 7th degree, or degree 7, whichever way you want to write it, 4-term polynomial. So that is that entire question. You'll have a couple of these on your quiz, just wanting to put it in standard form and then list the information requested. Remember though, if you can combine any terms, you need to combine those. And I'm not sure if any of these do that, but you do need to combine any like terms if you're given that. An addition piece. For me, the easiest thing to do is to look and do my highest exponent first and take care of that and work my way down. So I look across the entire thing when I'm finding my highest exponent. So I have an exponent of 1, 0, 3, 1, 3, and 4. So I would actually start with this. All right, if it cannot combine, then you just say, okay, I'm adding a negative n to the 4th. So this negative n to the 4th cannot combine with anything. It is going to be negative n to the 4th. And I have taken care of my highest exponent. And then I'm going to work my way down. I do this so that I have it in standard form. If I don't have one or the other in one of the parentheses, then it's not going to change other than if this center thing changes it. So this was plus a negative, this stayed a negative. Had this been minus, and this was the only n to the 4th, it would have been minus a negative 4th, and that would have changed it. So just pay attention when you only have one of a particular term and it doesn't combine. I'm going to move on from there to my into the thirds. So I'm going to start here. I have an n to the 3rd plus a negative 7n to the 3rd. Okay. All right, once I've done my n to the 3rd, I look for anything n to the 2nd. Actually, I have no n to the 2nds, so I can move on to just n to the 1st power. I have 8n to the 1st power plus 1n to the 1st power. And then I'm going to look for anything to this that has just a constant. And in this case, I have a minus 3, and that does not combine with anything in the next group. And so you'll notice I'm doing a pattern here. I'm underlining it once I have put it down below. That is my check to myself that I have taken care of every single term, okay? And that's just my method of doing it to make sure I have checked it. Once I've written it all out, I'm just going to simplify these. So this doesn't simplify with anything. It stays the same. I have 1 n to the 3rd and a negative 7n to the 3rd. That is a negative 6n to the 3rd. 8n plus n is 9n. And then this cannot combine, so it stays minus 3. And then I am done with that particular addition problem. All right, so let's look at number 12. Number 12, first of all, what am I doing here? I am subtracting. So that's just a mental note. I'm subtracting. My highest exponent amongst all of these is the 4th power. So I'm going to start with my 4th power here. Negative 7n to the 4th, and I am subtracting 3n to the 4th. Then I am going to go to my thirds. I don't have any n to the thirds, so I'm going to go to the seconds. 6n squared minus 7n squared. And then I am going to go to my n's. So I have 4n minus 6n. And then I'm just simplifying. Negative 7 minus 3 is negative 10, n to the fourth. 6 minus 7 is negative 1, n squared. And 4 minus 6 is negative 2, n. And that is my answer there. All right, so once again, I'm going to start with my highest being to the fourth. I am also subtracting here. So I have 8x to the fourth, and I actually do not have anything in the second polynomial that combines with that. So then I'm going to move on to my cubed. 7x cubed minus 5x cubed. All right? Then I am going to move to my x's. I have 8x minus a negative 5x. All right. And then I am going to move to my constants. What is my constant in my first one? I don't have one. All right. And so I would recommend for subtraction that if you do not have something in the first, you put a 0 there, whether it is 0x squared. If you are missing it, you may want to think of it as, okay, I have a 0 here for my constant. Why would I do that? Because it is subtraction. And so this is actually going to be 0 minus a negative 1. That will change that to a positive 1. You are subtracting a negative 1 from nothing. Okay? And so if you are missing something in the first group and it is subtraction, if it's addition, it really doesn't change it because you're adding whatever the guy is. But if you are subtracting, you may want to think of it, okay, it is a 0 for the constant or a 0x if I'm missing maybe an x to the first power in the first group and I'm subtracting. You may want to think of it that way. Because when you finish this one out, we have this guy, he does not combine, but he's in the first group. So it doesn't change anything. These combined, 7 minus 5 is 2, x cubed. 8 minus a negative 5, that is the same thing as 8 plus a positive 5. So this one becomes 13x. And here's where I have the biggest mistakes when I have just a subtraction in my last one. This is 0 minus a negative. It's the same thing as plus. So I end up with a plus 1 right there. All right, so for subtraction, I'm going to do the same method. I am going to look across the entire thing, and I personally just get the highest exponent. So the highest exponent amongst all of these is 3, and I do have one here, so I'm going to start with that one. The negative needs to come with it. It is a negative 8a cubed. It is minus 3a cubed. All right? And you can think of adding these together because that's what you're doing with these groups. Once I have my a cubed, I'm going to go down to my a squared. I have 4a squared minus 6a squared. And then I'm going to go to my a's. I have a 4a minus a negative 4a. And I don't have any constants, so I'm done with my groups. Then I am going to just simplify those. Negative 8 and negative 3 give me negative 11a cubed. 4 minus 6 is going to give me a negative 2a squared. And 4 minus a negative 4, that is the same thing as 4 plus a positive 4. So that is going to give me a positive 8a. And that is as simple as it gets. That is my answer. So I'll do this one. This is just in the mix of them. And then I'll do one more for you. So once again, this is addition. So when you get to these, when they're mixed around like this, and it's not just one addition or one subtraction, like it is on the first two groups, you may want to either get a highlighter or something and tell your brain what you're doing. Are you adding the terms or are you subtracting the terms? Because I promise the most mistakes I will see will be on the subtraction ones, okay? So you may just want to say, okay, this is addition, so I'm going to take whatever they give me and I'm going to add them. And so I would do these exactly the same way. I would say the fourth is my highest, so I'm start with that, 6p to the fourth. I am adding to that a negative 7p to the fourth. All right, and then I'm going to do my next group, the thirds. I have 2p cubed plus my 6p cubed. And then I am adding to that my constants because I don't have any squareds or first powers. So negative 1 plus negative 8. So in between all of my terms, I put a plus sign. So in between these terms, I put a plus, these terms, I put a plus, these terms, I put a plus, okay? And so you need to pay attention, what am I doing? Once you do that, it is just right up solving. 6 minus 7 is negative 1. P to the fourth. 2 plus 6 is positive 8 p cubed. Negative 1 plus negative 8 is negative 9. And you'll notice that my plus or minus depended on if I had a positive 8 or a negative 9. That's how I determined if it was a plus or minus in between them.